Thank you. Brian Bonner from the Kyiv Post. Polls show that most Ukrainians want to join NATO, and many believe that the nation made a mistake in disarming in exchange for security pledges that were not forthcoming. Yet Ukrainians become discouraged when some NATO nations tell Ukraine to forget about NATO membership, that it is a dead end that will only inflame tensions with Russia. As Secretary General, do you agree that it's better for Ukrainians to forget about their hopes for NATO membership and to stop talking about it? And if you disagree, what will you do as Secretary General, and what should Ukraine's political leadership do to turn these aspirations into reality in our lifetimes? Thank you.
NATO's policy of an open door has been a great success for many, many years. It has contributed to democracy, to stability, and to peace in Europe. And we are still committed to the open door policy. I was present at the summit in NATO in Bucharest in 2008, where we made a decision that the door is open and that Ukraine will become a member of NATO. And we have repeated that at different NATO summits since then. But during the last years, or for several years now, the position of Ukraine has been a position of a non-bloc nation. That has been the decision of the Ukrainian parliament and government. And NATO, we respect, of course, the decision of an independent and sovereign country. And we therefore also, of course, respected the decision by Ukraine to remain a non-bloc country. Now I've seen that the new government has announced that they are going to that they want to change that, and of course I will also respect that decision. And then Ukraine has to, if they want, to apply for membership, and we will meet that in the same way as we always do, and that is to assess whether Ukraine fulfills the standards and adheres to the principles, which is the precondition for becoming member of Ukraine. But that's something we then have to address if Ukraine applies for membership.
BBC.
Yes, Secretary General Jonathan Marcus from the BBC. The principal Western lever for bringing pressure to bear on Moscow has been economic sanctions, and clearly the decrease in the oil price, the slide in the ruble, greatly increases the economic pressure on Moscow. Do you see this as a positive development, more likely to bring compromise from Mr. Putin, or do you rather see that as potentially a dangerous trend that might encourage the Russians to take further rash actions?
I regard the economic sanctions as something which has been a very right decision of the European Union, of the United States, and many other countries. And even though the economic sanctions is not something which is decided by NATO as such, it's something all allies have imposed on Russia. And I support the economic sanctions because I believe it is important that it has some consequences. When a country like Russia violates international law, violates its international obligations, and do not respect the sovereignty and the territorial integrity of an independent nation, Ukraine. And therefore I think that the sanctions are necessary, and they have impact. And of course, combined with the fall in the oil price, is as the sanctions and the fall in the oil price have of course impact on the Russian economy. So we will continue to provide political support for Ukraine. We will continue to provide practical support for Ukraine through the trust funds. And allies will also continue to support Ukraine by imposing economic sanctions. And I support those sanctions because it has to have consequences when a country violates international norms rules and obligations.
Süddeutsche Zeitung.
Yes, just to follow up on Ukrainian NATO membership. You said you respect the decision of the new coalition to aspire for membership, but do you welcome these aspirations? And did Minister Klimkin bring this issue up in the discussion, and how was it discussed?
The discussions were excellent, and they focused on the political support and the practical support that NATO provides for Ukraine, and he was grateful for the support that NATO provides. And we reiterated and we confirmed that we will continue to support Ukraine. And we also, of course, discussed how we could even provide stronger or more practical support and expand our partnership. I'll leave it actually to countries to decide themselves whether they would like to apply for membership in NATO or not. And it's because Ukraine is an independent, sovereign country that I will not interfere in their decisions. I respect if they apply, and I respect if they don't apply. That's the whole idea with sovereign, independent countries. No country has ever been forced into NATO. All countries that have joined NATO has done so because they want. It's a voluntary process. And the enlargement of NATO has been a great success because countries have, by themselves, by their free will, decided to create the strongest military alliance in the world, because we are an alliance of democracies. We are an alliance of countries which have decided by themselves to work together and to protect each other. And it's one for all and all for one. And this is in an alliance where you are free to leave if you want, and no one is forced to join the alliance. If a country apply, then of course we will consider whether they fulfill the principles and the standards which is needed to be a member. That's also the case for Ukraine.
One last question, our Ukrainian colleague in front here.
In the opinion of some new Ukrainian politics, when Ukraine wants to NATO, we must be ready to give the biggest territory, our territory, for military bases. What do you think about?
I think it's much too early to start to speculate on conditions and what will be the concrete consequences of membership, or because the present status is that Ukraine is a country which is a non-bloc country, and they have decided some themselves. If that's changed, or if that's going to change, well, I have stated many times that then we are going to, of course, deal with that in the normal way, assess whether Ukraine fulfills the principles and the standards which we require from all members. So I think I just should leave it by that.
Thank you very much. That's all we have time for. Thank you.
Thank you.